Hey everyone, how's it going? Michigan here, back with another video for you. And this time, by the strat sketch you can see in front of me, I was requested to do a video on how to defend Fisherman's Bay from the south. So I have a very detailed coverage versus control map here, along with a tank direction and stages of battle. So starting off, if we go over it, there's some couple of things I have to explain. If you watch the coverage and control video, you'll know that we do have these red segments versus these blue segments, but not red segments with blue on them and blue segments with red, which is kind of the next stage here. And a video will be going out on how those work if you haven't seen it already. So blue is coverage. Coverage, just to recap. Coverage means that you can visibly see the area, but you cannot have any impact on that at all. Red means you have control over the area. You can cause problems to that area. Now, in order for it to be red, you also have to be visibly spotting it. And here we have heavies on the high side. We get tanks on the low side. We can spot that area. Blue, obviously, we just have some spots. So this blue area, again, this is rough because we don't know exactly where it is. It's all estimation. The EBR is spotting this area. Now, if we look at the red with the blue, this means, at least in the way that I have set this up for myself, this means that the area that is controlled by these chieftains does not necessarily need to be. It can also be lit. So we have crossover here by an EBR. If these heavy tanks back up, let's go to orange here. If these heavy tanks back up, they can no longer spot this area. This EBR is designated to this section of the map. Therefore, we know it will be lit if we don't have control. So that's why I put blue over it as well. However, it is mainly controlled by the chieftains. Let's take a look south. This is a little different. We have these chieftains lighting it, but we also have this TD here. Now, the TD cannot win the area by himself. However, that is probably an E3. That's what I would put there. And that is a 750 alpha TD. So we can still have impact, which is why it's mainly spotting, but it still has impact. This EBR cannot cause problems to any vehicles in this area. He cannot. This tank can cause damage to those vehicles reliably, while it may not change the game in a major way. So let's just get that out of the way. So, defending Fisherman's Bay. This area is no-go. One, you get yourself pinned back here. This whole area is a death trap, especially if they take the city. And also, this city just isn't defensible, because if they push city, whatever you have in the middle, and you have to take middle, is not going to be able to help, because you've got this long building right here. It just won't happen. If they push tanks down this way, you're going to have to bail out, and whatever they have opposite the ridge is going to cause you problems. So, let's just put a big orange X over this section of the map. Right there. So we're not going to play this area at all. We have the EBR there. You know what? There. Good. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to play this side. Now, you cannot bottle yourself up. Right now, what we're looking at, let's delete these. These are annoying. I don't like them. Right now, what we have is we have a corner. Because if you look at what do we have control, we don't have anything over here. We have no even semi-control like we have with the E4. So we've got sort of this area. And yes, we can visibly see this, sort of, but we don't, we can stop anything coming out of that area, but we don't necessarily have clean shots on it. So in order to prevent us from getting hammered in this corner, we need to push this, hence that orange line. Green is going to be first stage, just deployment. Orange is, well, normally it's blue is second. However, we have so much blue on the map, we're not doing it. So orange, and then usually it's red for the final stages and wrap up. So what we're going to do is we're going to send these vehicles down here to try and take this out. Now, remember, these chieftains have cross control too, along with these heavies. So what these chieftains and mediums are going to be able to do, this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tanks pushing in here with about 3 tanks, 7, 10. The EBR can get a shot in there. Mobile TD, that is 11 vehicles who feasibly, best case scenario, have shots. That is over a third of your team. So the whole idea is that these vehicles are able to assist these heavies in clearing this out. However, this means you often run into a problem. What I'm going to do is I'm going to mark out some enemy tanks on here. Enemy vehicle, you can already see I have it set up, is normally they're going to have tanks right in here. Now, these vehicles, obviously, any good caller on the enemy team is going to recognize if we take this area, we're going to be able to shoot them in the back. And if we come this way, we're still going to be able to shoot them in the back. So their initial reaction is going to be to move around to our right, their left. Let's get a dotted line for them. They're going to want to come this way. They're going to want to occupy this ridge, and they're going to want to push into the city. That's where this E4 comes in. You need to have angles of fire. We've already seen that in previous videos. Without angles of fire, you cannot effectively damage enemy vehicles. So this TD is about as far down as we can get. Now, you could say we could put the TD down here, and now he's really got angles of fire. However, now he's isolated without any support. So that's not going to work either. So the furthest we can put him, there's some buildings right here. We're actually able to take that area, stick a TD in there, and have him be relatively safe. Now, anything that pushes over is going to have to deal with a 750 Alpha TD hammering them every time they come over. You can see, at the same time, we have this orange line here, right, for our movement as well, which is we want these chieftains to rotate in this way. Remember, we're going to have tanks lined up here, hopefully, on this Bravo Alpha 1-2. And what they're going to be able to do is cover our chieftains. So now, these tanks, if they want to rotate back this way, they're going to have to run into these mediums and heavies that are on this ridge line. And if they want to come this way, they're going to have to deal with 1E3. Note that we also have the mobile TD. This is usually a Sturv or something comparable. You could even run an STB-1 here or some sort of fast-firing medium if you wanted. I prefer the Sturv for that area. That Sturv can rotate back if needed, and he can also support providing double the cover. However, these bushes sometimes seem to suffice. Now, this EBR obviously will have bailed. If they push this way, he's getting out. So that's an extra gun. He can also loiter around in here. However, sometimes what happens there is the enemies push both ways. And they may have done this when you pushed this area. Sometimes you need to take this area eventually, because otherwise you allow the enemies to rotate back and utilize it. So even if they're not over here, it's good to at least secure it. The issue becomes, and this is why this map is so difficult, is them rotating back. This is an open field. However, with this many tanks in the middle, you're not effectively able to shoot this. So if they truly wanted to rotate back, you'd run into problems. And then you'd have to be defending down this way. So I don't have a full-blown strat for it. A lot of this is play by play. But if we want to go by steps of, you can use kind of the steps of breaking the camp here, or a couple of them, which do translate over to just attacks. Which is, we need to compartmentalize this cap. Wow, couldn't get that word out. We have one compartment here in the middle. We've got the city, we've got our back left, and we've got their top right. If we're playing this strat, this is out of play for the most part. If they don't put anything here, you could feasibly get an EBR and just skirmish in this area and shoot up. However, that's not an effective way. Remember, that's just going to be a blue with red over it. That's not true control of the map. You're going to be able to tickle them a little bit, but you're not going to be able to start killing enemy vehicles, left, right, and center with one EBR. Even if the other EBR rotated over there, you don't know what they have for lights. They could come in here and engage him, and now you don't have any lights at all. So, 1, you have to take the middle. 2, ignore the city. This isn't worth playing, which means you're going to have to make this area work. So, the best thing to do, stretch the map, get those angles of fire into the city, right? We talked about obtuse angles earlier in previous videos. You don't want acute angles because then you get outflanked. So, stretch the map lengthwise, get some coverage in here, try and stop them if they want to push back. Make sure you're ready to send tanks back this way too. You don't need all 7 vehicles up here because, again, you're just limiting yourself in the same way you were. All you have, what you've done, is you've stuck a mirror over the middle of the map, and now these tanks are all here instead of down here. And you still only have a corner of the map, except for that these tanks don't even have a ridge line to hide behind. So you need to support both ends. And yes, this stretches you pretty thin. But you have this corridor here, which is fairly safe, so you can rotate vehicles, hence the speed. And my recommended equipment loadout for competitive play, if that video hasn't come out yet, I don't know when I'll put that one out, will tell you exactly why speed is so important, and this is one of them. You need to be able to relocate. So, I apologize for a little bit of the inconclusive answer, but I hope I give you some information as to how to best play it and how to react to enemies coming in. One last thing. The cap circle is dangerous here. It's pretty open. However, it's not easy to spot. So these EBRs need to stay alive. If this is getting too hairy for the EBR, the chieftains can cover this if they have to. The EBR just needs to get out, sit passive in a bush somewhere around here or in this area, and just keep that cap lit. Because it's very easy to get capped out here, especially after the chieftains get taken out. So, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you got something out of it. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye.